Hello, welcome back to my channel, Theater from My View. I am Amanda Washington, and today I have Nicole Burton here to talk about her greatness and how she shows up in theater as an artist. But before we get into it, a few things. One, I post a new video every Friday at noon. So two, don't forget to like and subscribe to this channel because three, next Friday's coming quick, fast, and boom, in a hurry, and you don't want to miss it. Are you ready?
Yes, your energy is amazing.
All right, let's get into it.
Let's do it.
All right, India, one, thank you so much for coming on TFMV. It truly means the world to me. Thank you so much.
It's my pleasure. It's my pleasure. From the first time I met you, Amanda, I'm like, we are going to be friends and forever.
Here for it. I am here for it. Okay, so like India is an actress, a director, a producer, a playwright, and an educator. So before we get into like your process and all of those things, how did you get your roots in theater? Like tell the people how it came to be India Nicole Burton.
Well, like I believe that every child is an actor. You're born an actor, you're born a creator. And then when you get older, by, the way the world is, it just kind of goes away. So me and my brother is also into the theater, into the arts. He's a singer, he's a musician, he's a writer. As a matter of fact, the theater that I work at now, he's, one of his plays that he wrote is being produced. So
Explosion of a Dream, right?
Yes. So me and my brother would we would play TRL for all of you, people who are millennials, the older end of the millennials. We would do TRL live and sing to each other. We would write plays and perform them with each other. And then I would write my own plays and perform them, every character by myself. And then I started writing poetry when I was younger. The first poem I ever can remember writing was in the 4th grade. And then I lived with a family who didn't have a lot of access to the arts or anything like that. So no one really knew, to hone this art, you know what I mean? So then when I was in the 9th grade, because I also sing. So I auditioned for our school play, The Wiz. And I got Eveline, and ever since then, I've just been doing it ever since then, since I was 14 years old. So, yeah.
Okay, so you've been doing it since you were 14 years old. That's a while. So do you have a process? Like, I guess you talked about not having access to how to hone your skills, and you're an educator. So what's, I guess, your process on how to get out into the community or just bringing the knowledge to your students? Like, what's your process like for that?
Well, the process is actually pretty much the same as I use with adults, but I'll explain. So I never thought that as a young person, that I ever would want to work with kids in my life. So so I'm from Akron, Ohio. And one of my friends, her name is Wendy Duke. She taught at one of the art schools in Akron. And she's like, you should come and help me devise this show. Cause I went to college and most of my training was in devised theater. So I went, I did it, and I was still a little unsure whether I wanted to work with children, but I had the experience. So then when I moved, me and my partner decided to move to Cleveland. I'm like, well, if I move to Cleveland, I need to have a job. So Terrence Spivey, who was the former artistic director of Caramoo, which is the oldest African-American theater in the country, right here in Cleveland. I told him, if there's any jobs that come up, please let me know. So then there was this teaching position that came up at an art school. And when I went into the art school, I was not I didn't go to school for education. The only thing I knew how to do was what I had gained from grad school. So I just went in teaching these 4th and 5th graders what I knew. So they were doing Chekhov and Stanislavski and and so basically I trained them the way that I was trained. I was trained in this really strict, I don't know if you know who Gutowski is, but so I was trained Yes, like very heavy, like physical. So then I started training them in that way. And now those kids that were in the fourth grade, they're now like 15 and like 16 years old. So so now they trained like adults and now they work like adults. So it's like when I go into a teaching process, I hold the kids up to a standard,
Mm-hmm.
you know, maybe even a little bit higher standard that maybe other teachers do. Um, because I believe that children can do the same thing that adults can do. I mean, it's been proven.
Yeah.
So when I go into a process right now, I use a lot of the kids that I used at when I was teaching. I taught for 5 years. Now at Cleveland Public Theater is where I work at now. I'm the artistic associate. So I'm not really in education there, but this summer what happened was COVID happened. So and they do this program every summer, student theater enrichment program. And because I was one of the ones who had taught, they asked me to do the STEP program. And the training is basically holding you to a standard, teaching discipline first. I think you can't do good theater, unless you are disciplined.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where I start off first. And then I'm also a deviser. So I usually don't work with a script.
Yeah.
We usually create the piece together. This last piece that I just did with the student theater enrichment program at Cleveland Public Theater, it was devised. The team and I gave writing prompts to the kids, and then we worked with pictures, and then we worked with music, and from all of that, we just create a piece. So yeah.
And how did they respond? Because, okay, I have been around many a college actor, and when you take away that script, they're like, what do we do? I'm like, they'll be just fine. So
Yeah.
how did your students respond?
Well, because I will say I cheat a little bit in STEP, because most students that are in the STEP program, actually, there were 5 girls. I have 4 of them were students that I've been working with for like 6-7 years. And then one of them was just this really wonderful girl from Columbus who was actually too young to be in the program, but she auditioned. I'm like, I have to have her. And so they know how they are not used to working with the script. So I think what comes natural to them right now is devised theater. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, and that's crazy that you say that about the script thing. That's what they can do, you know? So when they walk into a room and everybody else like, we need a script, and blah, 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 they don't freak out. They know where to start. They know how to begin. They know how to devise theater. Matter of fact, right now they are doing a workshop that they're teaching, a STEP fall workshop, where they're teaching kids between the ages of 13 and 16.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't even do anything. And they're 14 and 15. 4 of them, they're between 14 and 15, and they teach it. So yeah.
That's pretty amazing. So
yeah,
do you see this structure falling into your playwriting? The discipline and then the devised work. When you write plays, obviously a play is devised, because unless you're adapting something, you can see how much disdain I have for that. But do you see, like, how does it shape into your work as a playwright?
Oh, my work as a playwright. So the big thing that I'm working on now is called Panther Women in Army for the Liberation, which is a piece about that chronicles the lives of 3 women in the Black Panther movement and the Black Liberation movement: Angela Davis, Assata Shakur, Elaine Brown, and all of it was basically devised. So I am the opposite with playwriting. So it's kind of hard for me. It's hard for me to write in a linear way. And it's also hard for me not to devise a piece, because I'm such a collaborator. I love the collaboration process. I love collaborating with people.
Mm-hmm.
So that is that is like what my work is. Panther Women started with me, I actually did come in with like a little bit of the script written, but I also had writing contributors. And so they would write like they would give me pieces like of a poem that they wrote about one of the women, or about something that took place during the Black Panther movement, or during that time, or the Black Liberation movement. And then I would either take their work and put it in there, which not a lot of the work that they actually wrote made it in there, but a lot of the work that I've written is inspired by the work that they has contributed to the process. So I would say about 98% of the play is written by myself. But I can't take all the credit because I was very inspired by the women in the room. So Panther Women is also a piece that is very, very strongly, heavily rooted in movement. So the movement and the words are married together. So my friend Lexi Lattimore, who is one of the loves of my life, when we first started this process, which actually I started this process because I was given a residency by NNPN, which you are now one of them, which is absolutely incredibly amazing. An amazing program, and it's great that they have you because you're absolutely amazing. So so I was given a little bit of money to start it. And when we started it, Lexi and I worked together, and very, very early in the process, we understood that this piece will always be a devised piece, even with a script, because every time a person gets the script, you have to create movement. You have to create each woman, which there's 7 women, you have to create their own phrase of movement that they use throughout the piece, which is, that is devised theater, you know, the collection of dance, music, you know, everything. So that is my jam right there, devising. So
yes. So I've read Panther Women. Me and India know that I've read Panther Women. The audience doesn't know. So, but okay.
But you said it. So
so tell me, in the stage directions, and I love that you put this, one, you have this lovely phrase of whatever the Black woman wants. Thank you for it's the liberation, the Black liberation movement, the Black woman liberation movement within words in a script. But also you have that it has to be a cast of, not a cast, a creative team of women of color. Why did you feel the need to put that? Like, do you see theater changing so as to where we wouldn't obviously pick up on that? Or like, do you think theater wouldn't pick up on that in the first place? The theater industry.
Yeah, so I think the cast, you like the cast is all Black women. I mean, like, they have to be Black women, you know. But I think a lot of theaters, especially PWI theaters, if that is not particularly putting into the work, then they're like, oh, well, we can get a man, we can get a white man, or a white woman, or a Black man to do this. And right now, this piece is more than a play to me. It's more of a movement. You know what I mean? So what I'm doing is I'm saying, like, I don't know if it's going to you're not going to do that. I don't know if theater is not going to move that way, but I'm not taking any chances. So it's like the director must be a Black woman. The actors must be Black women, and the production team must be women of color, Asian, Latinx, any woman of color. Yes, but the cast, of course, they have to be Black women, and the director does too. So yeah,
I'm so here for it. I'm so here for it. Where do you you think there will ever be a day in theater where we don't have to do that? Like, where do you see theater going right now?
Do you mean like a day when we don't have to say that?
Yeah, a day where we don't have to say that. A day that people are so in tune with the fact of race, and not necessarily even in a bad way about like, oh, this is terrible, but race is in, oh, let's respect this culture. let's respect this these group of people. Where do you see it?
Not
Not in your lifetime.
not in my lifetime. I think that white people America has too far to go um, for people to just say, well, we're gonna allow women of color and Black women to go ahead and take on this piece of work that for me is not just a play. And the women who have helped create it, it's not just a play. I mean, there's been several casts of women who have workshopped this. So right now there's probably 20 to 30 women, maybe even more than that, who are part of the workshop of Panther Women, whether you were assistant director, choreographer, which there's only been one choreographer, Lexi, but stage manager, assistant stage manager. So I don't want to treat it like it is. And that's why I don't want to take my chances with it. We got a long way to go. You know what I mean? I think we've come a long way too, but theater is especially one of those things that I think is a little bit behind in that aspect of like understanding that this work is precious and it needs to be directed by people who understand the story and even designed by people who understand the story.
That's so crazy that you say theater is one of the industries that are behind, because we're supposed to be the industry that's commenting on what's happening in society. And like, we're quote unquote the liberals, even though that's maybe conservative. We're not here to judge.
That's America.
Yeah.
We America, we will say we are the land of the free and the country that is more advanced than other countries. But we all know, what happened yesterday wouldn't have happened. You know what I mean? Like, right. And when I mean yesterday, the storming of the
Capitol, it took me to history class when the French people stormed the Bastille. And I was like,
oh, yes. And that's in my play. That's at the top of the play.
Yes.
Like, let's storm the fucking Bastille. And I'm sorry, am I not allowed to curse?
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, I think we're behind in that right now. The people who are running the theaters are still white baby boomers.
Yeah.
I think it's moving along. I think, but we got some work.
Yeah, until people are okay with not being in power and giving their power to someone else, or just that's a deeper conversation on how you dismantle power completely.
Yes.
Conversation my head would hurt having right now. But until that happens, there's still going to be some barrier of us, in my opinion, truly being able to progress.
Yes. Yep. Yeah. I mean, the country hasn't. We're just behind, and that's just the realness of it.
So, with all of that, maybe you've answered it, maybe you haven't. What do you want to leave? What do you want your impact to be on theater? Like, what do you want to leave behind in theater? Like when you're 98 and ready to retire, or maybe 105 and ready to retire, what do you want to be your parting gift?
I think exactly what you just said, like a creator who has put a mark on their work, demanding that if the work is produced, that it's going to be produced with the people who should be telling the story. You know what I mean? But also like a legacy of people who I've trained along the way and brought along with me on the journey. And in training people in, I think devised theater is like, I think it's the future of theater, especially because I think, and even if like Gen Z or younger millennials don't understand that, but because we're a lot more communal, like people want to be people want to work with a community of people, even if, because devising theater looks different for every person. So it's not like my process could be different for Olivia Livy, one of my good friend, Olivia Lily's process, who in Chicago, is different from Raymond Bobgan, who is the artistic director of Cleveland Public Theater, where I work. So, but it's communal theater. You know what I mean? It's a company that gets together and creates a piece together. And so I think that that's the future. People want to tell, and it's also another device to tell different stories and to go into communities and get non-traditional people who aren't into theater to get to tell their stories. So I believe that's the future. So
I like that you said that. It goes into the community and gets non-traditional people to tell their story. It's what you're saying is that they matter.
Oh, yeah.
Their story matters. And it's like, okay, we want to hear your story. It's giving them that platform, devised theater. And it's like you said, it's breaking away from the traditional structure of, you don't have to write in a linear fashion. I appreciate you not writing in a linear fashion, because one, you have to work. Theater is about this escape of, let's relax my mind. I know from my directing, like, I want you to work at these details, okay? I'm not over here just directing for beauty.
Exactly. And that's a collaboration. I mean, like, the devised theater is so beautiful. I mean, the director-actor relationship, and like, you give me something, I give you something, and it's not all about me coming into the process like having everything blocked, like, I'm not knocking anybody who does that, but I, as an actor, I don't like that for me, and I don't like to do that as a director. So, and I think that is something that was traditional back in the day, for a director to go to the script and block everything and then come into rehearse with everything blocked. But
I think it bothers my actors. I really think it does, even though they smile to me and say we're fine. But I'm like, follow your spirit. I'll tell you where to enter from. But after that, I'm like, follow your spirit. I'll make it clean after that. But do what you want to do, and we'll fix
the impulse. Yeah, there's nothing better than the natural impulse of someone who is really like listening and really present. I mean, sometimes you have actors who you have to guide along a little more, but your impulse is going to be way better than my direction, unless you're not giving me anything. You know what I'm saying? And then maybe we can work together to figure that out. But I am just all about, working with actors' impulse and working with what the actor, dancer, mover already has. So,
and that goes back to your initial point about discipline, about how you like discipline, and then devising, about how, like, if you have the training and you're in the moment, you can almost, in a sense, let that take over and just follow the impulses that come, because you can trust the training to get you to those impulses.
Exactly. Yep.
And then that's where directors should trust the actor to do that.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's all, I mean, I just think that I mean, even what you're saying right now, that is devising theater. Like, I know there's a script there, but still, it's like, we're working as a community to figure out how to get you where you need to be on opening night. And sometimes you're not even where you're supposed to be, where you need to be on opening night. But that's the beauty of theater. It's like, you can continue to discover even after opening night. And you should always, even if you do think you got it, you should always be trying to discover different things. So, yeah.
Completely agree. Okay, so any projects to put on the horizon for us to be looking out for?
Yes. So right now, Panther Women is still in workshop, but I am this summer, I'm going to be doing 2 outdoor versions of it as a workshop. And I'm also doing a lot of producing at Cleveland Public Theater, which is where I work. Please go to cptonline.org and check out some of the great things that we have going on. I also started grad school, MFA in playwriting. So I got a lot of exciting projects that I am excited to work on during my tenure in grad school. So yeah, a lot of those projects aren't announced yet, but a lot of the producing projects. But if you go to cptonline.org and look at our season and look at some of the cool things we have going on. One of the things that I am producing is called Station Hope, which is it's a sort of a celebration of the civil rights, the racial injustices of Cleveland, but coming together and using performance as a way to celebrate where we were, where we've come from, and we're still where we have to go, you know. And so that's one of the things I'm producing, and that is one of the new play development series that we have at Cleveland Public Theater. It's not necessarily a new play development series, but it is it's a place where people, especially local artists, can put in an application or proposal to do work, and then we choose like 10 to 15 pieces virtually. So when this is done in real life, it's way bigger than what it'll be virtually. Yeah. In real life, we do it at one of the oldest Underground Railroad sites in Cleveland, called St. John's Church. But of course, we can't do anything live right now. So just go to the website, go to cptonline.org, check out our season, there's a lot to look at. So take some time, 15 minutes, and check it out, and you'll see what we're doing. So, yeah.
All right. So, okay, any social medias that the people can follow you on, or like ways to keep up with you other than CPT website?
Yes. So India Nicole Burton, INDIANICOLE BURTON. I almost forgot how to spell my name. Facebook, and then IG, it's India_Nicole_Burton, same way I just spelled it for Facebook. And then I don't really do Twitter or anything like that, or Facebook and IG are the only two things I have time to actually do. And I Facebook a lot. So Facebook is like really where you'll get to see my perspective and
yeah, she posts some really great stuff. I'm over there following like a creeper sometime, like in the comment section, reading other people's comments.
Oh, well, yeah.
But who doesn't do that?
I was gonna say, I do that too. I do that a lot, you know. Facebook, I've been on Facebook since, and maybe I'm telling my age right now, but I've been on Facebook since it came out in 2005. So it's almost been 20 years. It's crazy.
Oh my goodness. Well, thank you so much again, India, for coming on to the channel. It has meant the world to me, and I enjoyed our conversation.
Thank you, Amanda. You are so awesome, and you are like going to be like the next big. I cannot wait to see where your career goes. Like, you have a very promising career. So
thank you so much. All right, I will see you all next week. Bye-bye.